While we had a fabulous dice in the minor positions, there were two drivers just making it their own personal battle at the front. Have to say that during the race commentary, I didn't do justice to Matthew Hamilton, getting the third place of the podium for the second World Finals running. But whilst Matthew was having that fabulous ride into third place, the drive that took 1 and 2 to the world's 1 and 2 positions was out of this world. Mike Barton, representing Belgium this year, would have been a very worthy world champion, drove a stunningly good race. But there was one guy who turned out better on the day, and he did have to overcome adversity to get onto the top step of the podium. Daniel Morad having issues in the earliest stages, but coming through. And we will start with the world champion. And Daniel, I don't think you know this, but I was speaking to your father the previous night, and he said, so long as Danny is no lower than 20th, he can come through in a long final and go from 20th to 1st. Did you believe you could do that?
It's amazing that my dad has that much confidence in me. You know what, it was always going to be tough. Starting from 20th, you know, it's not ideal, but you know, we saw last year Caleb Williams coming from 24th in the pre-final to win the grand final, so I knew it was possible. The pre-final didn't really work out the way I wanted. I mean, I only made it up to 13th, but we knew we had the pace. I just was fighting a bit too hard with some of the guys in the back. So yeah, I mean, I just kept my head down. I was on the inside for the start, and you know, had a great first lap. I think it was up to 7, and from there it was just one at a time. And when I found myself in second, I just cooled off and let the tires have a break. And I knew there was a long time to go before the end. And Mike drove nearly a perfect race. Like he was really consistent, and it was difficult to catch him. But 1/10 at a time, I was able to reel him in. And the last lap, I tried sizing everything up and working out the best option. I figured he'd defend into 3, so I mean I had to try in 1. Didn't work out, and the only other option without him defending would probably be 8, and I went for it, and it worked out.
Well, Daniel, in that answer, you've answered what would have been my second question, and that's very, very interesting in its own right, because it did seem, from my position, that with 6-7 laps to go, it was inevitable that you were going to reel him in and pass. But then I wondered, and I think I even said in circuit commentary, Mike is holding Danny now. Mike has only got 2.5 laps to go. Can he hold on? Can you really have the mental discipline to say, I've got one more guy to pass, but there's only 2.5 laps in the race, but I'll just ease those tyres and hold back? Can you really do that?
I haven't done much karting, but for the past 2 years I've done about 5 races per year, and I'm pretty familiar with the Mojo tire now. And I know that if you overwork the tire, then it goes off. And because I started 13th, I really had to work hard to get up, into second. So I knew there was time left. I mean, I looked up at the lap counter, and there was about 5 or 6 laps left, and I wasn't too far behind. But I had to also, I had to manage everything. I had to push, but also keep it under control and make sure I wasn't sliding the tire. And when the last lap board came out, I mean, I was a bit far behind. Not gonna lie, like coming onto the straight, I was a bit too far. I wasn't able to make the move in turn 1. Lost a bit of ground, but I'm pretty happy that I saved the tires for that last lap, because I was able to push through the whole entire lap and make the move in 8.
Well, it's a very honest and very comprehensive answer, Daniel. Thank you. Let's turn to the guy who was on the wrong end of that. First, Mike, before I ask you anything, I'm going to say, you know that I've watched you for, 5 or 6 years racing now. I've seen you at an excellent best previously. I've seen your form dip a little bit, but you did not do very much wrong this weekend at all, did you? Did you know that he was reeling you in? Did you feel it was inevitable? Or did you think, no, I'm in front, I will not let him pass, I will be able to defend my position?
Yes, of course, I had a very good start. I was second,
and then I drive after the first one, and I look after me and I see I have a lot of space after me, so I was waiting for the last lap. And then after half race distance, I see one guy coming, and then I say this is the moment to pass, and then I pass the one and I take the lead. And then I was pushed very, very hard, and I take a big gap. And yeah, I know the last laps it was very, very hard to tires also. And yeah, the last laps it was very, very hard to roll them off. And yeah, we start the last lap and we have a little gap. And also when it stalled, it was very hard. Yeah, the whole league is going around.
Was there a moment after he'd passed you when you thought, look, there's still an opportunity, can I just get back inside, can I get the drag up the straight? Was there a moment that you thought you might hold on, get back, or did your heart sink when he went and you thought, not this year for me?
No, of course, I wanted to take the first place, and also in the last corner I dived him at the outside because he was holding the inside. And yeah, then we go to the finish, and the finish was unbelievable. We go into time marathon. Yeah, of course I wanted to take the first place, but it was impossible the last corner.
Okay, Mike, well, thanks for your honesty as well. I move over to Matthew on a slightly different basis, which is, tell me how you got into third place on the last 5, 6, 7 laps, because I was just watching these two. It was a close battle, wasn't it? It was a hard-fought podium place.
Yes, obviously for a while I was back in 6th and just really waiting to see what would happen. We didn't quite have the pace that this front two did, so we're just biding that time, and then I think the Estonian made a move, and they all came together and I had to take to the grass, but came out ahead, and then it was a pretty lonely race after that. These front two guys were miles ahead, and 4th place was a wee way behind, so just about not making mistakes and hoping these two had a bit of a battle.
Well, just pick up on one of the aspects of what you said. Do you feel that without the little leaving of the tarmac and onto the excursion onto the grass, do you think there was a point at which you might have got second, first, or from what you've just told me, are you saying, no, I knew they got pace which I hadn't got, in which case third was as much as you could go for?
No, I don't think so. Like we always had pace throughout the weekend. It was always going to be a hard last race. This is our first time in DD2, so we're learning a lot, and we probably didn't quite make the right choices for the final. But once again, it was always going to be hard. We knew from the pre-final that Mike was fast, and obviously Dan was fast all weekend. So. It was going to be tough. We were just going to try and be there at the end and battle it out. But as it turned out, we weren't quite close enough. But really happy with it.
Back home in New Zealand, is there strong enough competition with drivers, tracks, events for you to stay as sharp as maybe you need to be to get a world title?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, with DD2, we don't run in New Zealand, so that's where it gets hard. But I had a great battle with Josh this year, and obviously he won, and I was second. So there's plenty of good drivers there in New Zealand. Obviously the track conditions are a lot different. We don't have the grip. We probably don't have the numbers as well. The setup is a lot different when we come to a meeting like this. But obviously there's many drivers in New Zealand that were worthy of being here, so I was very lucky.
Well done, Matthew. It takes a very consistent driver to get onto the podium of a world final and do it again the following year. So well done, Matthew Hamilton. Tremendous praise from me to Mike Barton, but I have to say, Daniel Morad sitting in the middle there, he really did have something special.